is going on, guys? JD from New York here. Monday Night Raw review tonight, April 18th, 2016. I am going to keep this shorter than I usually do for my Monday Night Raw reviews, man. Typically, WWE tours the United Kingdom post-WrestleMania every year. This is an annual thing now for WWE. They tour all of Europe, United Kingdom. They tape usually 1 week of Monday Night Raw and SmackDown in the United Kingdom. Tonight took place from the O2 Arena. And typically these Monday Night Raws are exciting to start out with. And then, just like tonight, it died literally an hour and a half in. Usually these shows are not filled with much excitement. There's not much storyline progression for these shows, which is why I am going to keep this shorter than I usually do, because tonight really didn't expand on WWE Payback outside of a few matches being announced, and then obviously I'm not even going to say surprising attack of Roman Reigns from Doc Gallows and Karl Anderson. It's not all that surprising to me that that actually happened. We'll discuss that as we get to that certain part of the show. But Monday Night Raw tonight, you know, I'm not going to sit here and tell you it was a bad show, because WWE kept on what I loved about last week's show, and that is the simplistic booking. It was very simple. It was very easy to understand. The only thing that really brought this show down, and it's, you know, something that's rearing its ugly head seemingly every single week, and that's the 3-hour format. The 3-hour format is tiresome, it's dull, it's stale, it's boring, and I can't even imagine what it does to the people in attendance. I know what it does to me, but to sit in an arena that I'm sure taped Superstars and Main Event and whatever else WWE has on the network throughout the week, and then through 3 hours of Monday Night Raw, and then a dark match after that, I am assuming, that's got to be a long fucking evening for everyone in attendance. And it's long for us at home on Monday nights, just watching from the comfort of our own couches. It's a long fucking show. And a lot of what happened tonight really wasn't all that surprising. It really wasn't all that exciting and interesting. And one of the major reasons was because, like I said, the 3-hour show, it took a lot out of the audience. The audience was clearly tired around the 9:30 mark during this show. So I really don't know what else to tell you about this show. It set up Payback nicely. They're doing a very, very good job at setting Payback up, which in my honest opinion, and we'll talk about this during the week, I'm going to set you guys up with Payback videos as we get closer to the pay-per-view like I usually do, or have been doing with the pay-per-views. Payback is actually looking better than WrestleMania. I like the build for Payback a lot more than I did WrestleMania. WWE is taking a different approach, a more simplistic approach, one that's showing you that they don't have to try so hard to make things make sense for Payback. A lot of the stuff coming out of WrestleMania was just very simple, very easy to understand, like I stated last week, and they're continuing that, and I'm sure it's going to continue into Payback, which is making Payback, in my honest opinion, an overall better show, and it's going to be a better show in terms of wrestling and storyline-wise compared to WrestleMania. So, you know, WWE, I'm not going to sit here and say that they put on a bad show tonight. It wasn't a good show either. It was a very boring show. It was one that really dragged as the hours went on. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you that WWE developed some kind of streak for the third week in a row. We got a good Monday Night Raw, something that we can really be proud of the next day. WWE really didn't do that. They put on a show. They continued some of what they did last week in unexciting fashion overseas in Europe. None of these shows really blow anybody away. I'm sure the superstars are tired. The crowd is tired. They're all out of it. Everybody's out of it. Just a long travel schedule. The people in attendance, etc., etc. I'm not going to sit here and tell you the WWE put on a bad show, but it wasn't a good show either. It was nothing memorable about it. Last week's show obviously was head and shoulders way above this show. And being that it wasn't live for us here in the United States really takes away from it. And knowing that it's a tape show, it's just a different vibe, it's a different feel. It doesn't have that typical Monday Night Raw excitement from a hot crowd. I mean, last week it was in Los Angeles. You know, it was in a big city. England is a great crowd, but all those factors that I just previously mentioned takes away a lot from the show. And being that it's not live also is one of the big factors why this show really wasn't all that impressive. But it wasn't a bad show, and it wasn't a good show either. They did progress some storylines very nicely, and for the third week in a row, Shane McMahon is in charge of Monday Night Raw. More and more, as we see Shane McMahon on television, I'm not going to complain about it, okay, because I am going to trust WWE in making, or giving us a reason in making, all this make sense, okay? The feud with The Undertaker and the deal with his father, and the fact that the Authority is not on television, I am trusting, and normally I don't do this, I am trusting WWE to make sense of all of this. Because with Shane McMahon on television again, and this is due to overwhelming social media support, okay? If only Zack Ryder got this type of push on Monday Night Raw due to overwhelming support on social media, he'd be the fucking WWE champion. But it doesn't work that way for certain superstars. Shane McMahon, obviously Vince McMahon's son, receives overwhelming support on social media, and WWE is trying to spin that into him running Monday Night Raw. This is all leading to Triple H and Stephanie McMahon coming back following their loss to Roman Reigns and losing the WWE Championship. Anybody watching the program knows this is coming. This is a storyline that is going to tie up, hopefully, all the loose ends, and hopefully WWE can give us logic and make sense of this storyline. This is all leading to Triple H coming back to television. Anybody watching the program can realize that, okay? It's not rocket science. Whether they're going to set up a match between Shane and Triple H at SummerSlam for control of the company, whether this is going to initiate a brand split, that remains to be seen. You guys know my feelings on the brand split. I do not think it's the right time. I gave you an incredible off the script talking about the brand split when it was initially the hottest topic in wrestling. Everybody wants the brand split. Everybody thinks the WWE would be better off with a brand split. In my honest opinion, and I'm going to state it again, and I'm not going to dive into all the details I did in that particular episode of Off the Script, WWE right now, with Monday Night Raw being 3 hours, it would be a complete mistake. Even if you have all the members of the injured list on the active roster, 100% healthy, it's still not going to make sense. Okay? I want one roster. I want storylines that flow from Raw to SmackDown. There's still a lot of massive problems wrong with Monday Night Raw. The announce team being one of them, the overall vibe of the show, even with Shane McMahon being there, there's still a lot of work to be done. Being that Monday Night Raw is your flagship show, you need to make that show right first before you do anything else with the remaining aspects of your television throughout the week. Because everything that happens on Monday Night Raw is going to have a direct correlation, it's going to have a direct effect to everything else that happens during the week leading into a specific pay-per-view, okay? You guys know this. Hopefully you understand that. Raw being 3 hours for the next 2 years is not going to help their cause with a brand split. If Shane McMahon is going to go one-on-one with Triple H as a result of this storyline and him being on TV and Triple H being off TV, having him come back to TV to pretty much confront Shane McMahon, I'm all for it if it's going to tie up loose ends as to what wasn't concluded at WrestleMania, okay? But I am not in favor of this leading to a brand split. I am in favor of this getting the Authority off television because it's 3 years that they've been on television. We do not need to see them on television anymore. Shane McMahon obviously is a more beloved character. He's a breath of fresh air. He's the one McMahon that we don't mind seeing on television. And the fact that he has been interacting with the superstars the way that he has, It just creates a freshness to Monday Night Raw that we haven't seen. It's not a monumental change. It's not something that's going to be labeled as a huge restart for WWE, but it's certainly a different aspect when compared to the Authority. So if this is going to lead to the Authority being off television and Shane McMahon taking over Monday Night Raw and him being on television at least once during the week, I am okay with it. Tie up the loose ends. I'm going to trust WWE in getting us there and making sense of this entire storyline, because the way it is right now with Shane McMahon on television and Triple H away from Monday Night Raw, it really doesn't make any sense until he makes his return, until Stephanie makes her return, and we really get an explanation as to why all this is happening. I'm not going to complain about it. I'm going to be open-minded. I'm going to just let things happen. I'm going to be optimistic here. I'm going to embrace what WWE hopefully has for us in terms of storyline. And if they want SummerSlam to be the second biggest pay-per-view of the year, which typically it is, it should be, Shane McMahon versus Triple H, you can't get any bigger than that. Whether this is going to lead to an eventual Seth Rollins return is another open idea. Triple H can come back and fight for his right to remain on television and fight for his right to control Monday Night Raw as he has been. Shane McMahon necessarily doesn't need to be back in the ring. He doesn't need to be an active competitor anymore after he fought The Undertaker at WrestleMania. This could be an open-ended storyline which could usher in the return of Seth Rollins, and Shane McMahon can hire Seth Rollins back to fight for him, and we can get that storyline tied up as well, all the loose ends for that storyline concluded, because the way they were building before Seth Rollins got hurt, he was supposed to take on Triple H at WrestleMania. So now that he's coming back, he could be the hired gun for Shane McMahon, and he can put Seth Rollins in a match with Triple H at SummerSlam for the control of the company if you want something for Seth Rollins to do upon his return before he eventually goes after the title that he never lost and Roman Reigns, because, they need to conclude what wasn't really finished before he got hurt. And everybody's talking about Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins at SummerSlam. That can wait. Seth Rollins is going to get his title match. He's going to get a shot at the title that he never lost. I'm hearing rumors of Seth Rollins being brought out for money, being brought back for Money in the Bank. We'll talk about that on Off the Script. I got a lot of news regarding Seth Rollins and ideas for his eventual return. I don't want to get ahead of myself, and I don't want to jump the gun, but these are the things that are running through my head during Monday Night Raw and running through my head during the week as far as Shane McMahon and the news of him being on Monday Night Raw for 3 straight weeks now without any explanation. This is going to, usher in the return of Triple H, and that's all that it's going to lead to. And it's going to be interesting, and I'm going to trust WWE here in getting us the right storyline and making sense of everything that we've seen. Monday Night Raw started typically the way it usually does. We had a clusterfuck of an opening here. We had Dean Ambrose come out for the Ambrose Asylum. Shane McMahon comes out stating that he's on Monday Night Raw again for the 3rd straight week. Dean Ambrose thanks him. Shane McMahon and, Dean Ambrose go back and forth. It was a little odd at times. It really wasn't all that interesting to me. This obviously led to Chris Jericho coming out, Sami Zayn coming out, Kevin Owens coming out. And I didn't read the spoilers, so I initially thought this was going to lead to a tag team match of Dean Ambrose and Sami Zayn versus Chris Jericho and Kevin Owens, which I wouldn't have mind, seeing as a main event. But what this did was set up Payback and make Payback all that more interesting. Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn was announced for Payback. Chris Jericho versus Dean Ambrose was announced for Payback. We got the finals of the tag team tournament, which we'll talk about in a little bit. That is going to be taking place at Payback. Payback is looking pretty damn good. On top of that, we got AJ Styles versus Roman Reigns for the WWE Championship. We got The Miz versus Cesaro for the Intercontinental Championship. We got the Women's Championship and Charlotte defending her title against Natalya. And we'll talk about all that as we get on with this review, but Payback is looking like a pretty damn good fucking show, man. And how did we get there? Simplistic booking. Simplistic booking, man. It's like I'm playing WWE 2K16, and we got there simply by putting the right pieces together and giving us shit that makes sense. It's not that fucking difficult. WWE, if you think back to what they did for WrestleMania, they tried their fucking ass off. It's like they played Call of Duty during Double XP weekend, man. They sweat their fucking balls off. to try and get a WrestleMania card together that everybody thought that they wanted to see, and when we got the final product, we ended up leaving disappointed. Payback is so fucking simple. It's like going into a fucking noob lobby on Call of Duty, and you coming out with 60 fucking kills, and 40 fucking tags, sitting at the top of the leaderboards with 7,000 score. It's fucking great. Simple. It's exciting. It's fun. That's how you're supposed to book pay-per-views. It's not supposed to be overly complicated. It shouldn't be making your life more difficult. Give us shit that makes sense. Give us shit that is simple. And everything and everybody will be better off for it in the end. So, WWE is doing a great job as far as the build for Payback goes. The way that they're booking Payback has been fucking great. I have no problems with it. And by the time Payback comes in 2 weeks, you know, it's going to be a damn good show. I'm very, very excited for Payback. And it's been a long time for me to actually say that I've been excited for a pay-per-view. You know, usually I'm hyped for a pay-per-view because it's the Royal Rumble, or it's WrestleMania, or it's fucking SummerSlam. Payback is not supposed to be that exciting. WWE is making that exciting for me, and I can appreciate that. And I'm not going to be overly negative. I'm giving you, and I'm saying things that, you know, I'm thinking about while I'm watching last week's Raw and then heading into this week's Raw. You know, I'm not going to be overly negative. I can appreciate when WWE has been putting on decent fucking television. Anything has been better than what we've been given the past couple of months, the past couple of years, all of 2015. Never mind the past couple of fucking months. All of 2015, which bled into 2016. What WWE is doing now is the best that they've given us for 2016. And pretty much all of 2015. Anything is better than what we've been given. That's why I've been a little bit more positive about my reviews on Monday Night Raw. That's why I've been a little bit more positive about the Monday Night Raws that we've been seeing. And the matches that have been made. And Shane McMahon being on television. And us getting to see a Sami Zayn and a Kevin Owens more frequently. You know? And AJ Styles and Roman Reigns coming into his own as a heel. You know, he's still not there yet, clearly. He still has mic problems, clearly. But everything seems to be decent. And everything certainly is better than what we've been given in the past when it comes to Monday Night Raw. So all this opening did was pretty much set up Payback. It's going to be Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens and Dean Ambrose versus Chris Jericho for WWE Payback. And I like the interaction between Kevin Owens and Shane McMahon, okay? And Shane McMahon again uttered and reiterated to Kevin Owens, I kicked you out of the fucking arena last week. You know, Kevin Owens had a problem with, you know, this is exactly what Shane McMahon wants on Monday Night Raw, refreshing new faces and fresh matchups. Kevin Owens asking, why did you kick me out of the arena? Because you clearly had intent to ruin Sami Zayn's opportunity at getting a WWE Championship match. I was not going to allow that to happen. And that's when the segment came to a head, and the matches were made for WWE Payback. Chris Jericho and Sami Zayn started the show off. At this point, you know, I really wasn't all that interested in seeing this match. I love Sami Zayn. I really enjoy Chris Jericho's work since he's been back. And the one thing that I've been thinking about as far as Chris Jericho goes, this is clearly not his best work. Obviously, he's older. Obviously, he's not in the greatest shape of his career. But you can always appreciate a good heel when you see one, and that is Chris Jericho. I would be very interested to know what Chris Jericho's mentality is and what his mindset is, you know, in his current run with WWE. He's had an opportunity to work with AJ Styles for 3 months. He's had the opportunity to go against Sami Zayn. This is some of the best talent that Chris Jericho's been in the ring with in years. I would love to know his mentality and his mindset going into this. And it was a very good match. It was a decent television match here. It went about 13 minutes. And I can't even begin to tell you how I love the Blue Thunder Bomb for Sami Zayn, man. He never beats anybody with it. It looks like a finishing move, but he never ends up beating anybody with it. It always looks pretty, though. And every time Sami Zayn dives over the top rope for a tope or a fucking high-risk move, he lands on his fucking legs or his body or his wrist. I just have a feeling he's going to fucking hurt himself. Every time he dives over the top rope, I have this fear within me, and tell me if I'm a little fucking crazy, if you guys are thinking the same thing. Every time Sami Zayn dives over the top rope, I have a feeling he's going to fucking really, really injure himself. You know, he's a professional, he knows what he's doing, but he ends up coming out of it okay, but when it is happening, I always see Sami Zayn possibly injuring himself. In the end here, You know, it's just a setup for what we're going to see at Payback. And that was pretty much all it was, man. It wasn't all that exciting. And Payback is going to, like I said, Payback's going to be damn good. You know, Chris Jericho versus Dean Ambrose, I'm very interested in seeing that. And obviously Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens is going to be absolutely phenomenal. The interaction between those two, the history between those two. You know, obviously it doesn't need a title, but I wish Kevin Owens was the champion still. I think this match would be enhanced with the Intercontinental Championship on the line. But on this night, Sami Zayn falls to Chris Jericho at 13 minutes with a codebreaker for the win. So, Sami Zayn, you know, he falls to Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho looking pretty strong going into his match with Dean Ambrose. Enzo Amore and Big Cass versus the Dudleys. This is the semifinals, one of the semifinal tag team matches that took place tonight on Monday Night Raw. I love how over Enzo and Cass are. These guys are fucking over, bro. Holy shit. This is they're not on the level of what the New Age Outlaws did in the Attitude Era. I don't think anybody's going to achieve that type of success as far as tag teams go. But Enzo and Cass are fucking over on the main roster, man. They are going to be huge. They have a possibility of coming very, very close to what the New Age Outlaws did as far as popularity in the tag team division. And WWE's got two fucking winners on their hands in both Enzo and Cass. The Dudleys, I love what Bubba Ray has been doing. I think his interaction with Enzo and Cass has been great. His demeanor and just the intensity that he and Devon have brought to this feud has been great. And the interaction and the loudmouth attitude of Devon and Bubba Ray in tonight's match during this semifinal tag team tournament match was just fucking great. Now, obviously the right men won. Enzo and Cass won. They are in the finals. I don't think this is going to be the end of this. I think these two teams, again, will meet somewhere down the line. Enzo and Cass, I believe, will be the new tag team champions. I just think it's right. You know, the New Day has held the titles far too long. The New Day, I wouldn't say that they're getting stale, but you can just sense that their time is coming. You know, it's to a point where they are over enough that they don't need the tag team titles. You know, it's great what they did for the division, and now WWE has Enzo and Cass on their hands. And in my honest opinion, I think it's going to be right for the WWE to put the titles on the hottest hands that they have, which is Enzo and Cass. I think it would be a huge mistake if they are not tag team champions when this is all said and done. So Enzo and Cass beat the Dudleys tonight, and it was a decent match, man. It really was a decent match. I don't know what else to tell you. You know, I predicted this before the tournament even was advanced. Enzo and Cass are going to win this thing, and they're going to beat the New Day. That's my honest opinion. So Enzo and Cass move on. They go on to fight the winner of the Usos and the Vaudevillains, which we will talk about in just a little bit. Roman Reigns. This is where the show got interesting. Roman Reigns and AJ Styles. Before we get into anything else, everything else was really unimportant. This was the only other big thing on this show that was of any importance. Roman Reigns and AJ Styles. The interaction between the two was okay. It was passable, okay? The announce team played it up as a big match feel. And Roman Reigns, again, came out. He's like a fucking politician. We don't need to know that he is the guy. We know already. This is the fourth fucking week that he's come out and said the same thing. Okay? Interaction between AJ and Roman Reigns. At the end of all this, Luke Gallows and Karl Anderson, we're going to address them as the Bullet Club because we don't know what the fuck they're going to be called, and everybody knows them as the Bullet Club, okay? Until they are given an official WWE name, we are going to label them as the Bullet Club. They attack Roman Reigns from behind. AJ Styles is on the ramp seeing this all happen, okay? I don't know the name of the move that they did to Roman Reigns, but just picture Luke Gallows getting Roman Reigns up in an F5 position, okay? And Karl Anderson just kicks Roman Reigns' head into the third fucking row. Unbelievable. They laid Roman Reigns out. AJ Styles is watching this on the rampway. He has no reaction to this whatsoever. Now, the two ideas that we brought up, one was on my end, okay? One was from my mind. The simplistic way. AJ Styles turning heel, aligning him with Luke Gallows and Karl Anderson, reforming the Bullet Club in WWE. Some of you brought it to my attention. This wouldn't make sense because of what happened in New Japan. My opinion on that is whatever happened in New Japan stays in New Japan. The casual WWE audience, unless you're a huge fucking internet mark, is not going to know what happened in New Japan when he finished there and lost the title, okay? None of that is of importance. The other thing was brought up to everybody's attention, and I heard it first from Solomonster. You guys said that even Solomonster was taking the idea from somebody else, somebody in Vince Russo's camp. Roman Reigns aligning himself with Gallows and Anderson. And everything that we've seen so far is being done as a huge swerve. Now, the Roman Empire, Roman Reigns tonight said that we are here to stay. That's the one thing that he stated in this promo before AJ Styles came out tonight. The one thing that he stated in this promo that I took a keen interest in. We are here to stay. Who is we? Who is we? Obviously, WWE is setting something up. The idea of Anderson and Gallows playing a part in this main event is there. It's going to happen. Whether they're going to align themselves with AJ Styles or Roman Reigns remains to be seen. If WWE wants to take a risk and further Roman Reigns' heel turn, then aligning Gallows and Anderson with Roman Reigns would make great sense, and it would be a risk WWE should take because this is of no loss to them. Okay? This is a risk worth taking. There's nothing to lose here for WWE. In fact, it's actually going to make WWE look better because Roman Reigns is getting organic heat now. It's fucking astronomical levels, the amount of heat that he is getting organically. People just don't like him. People don't want him, okay? And it's showing. And people are being vocal about it in every arena. This is Europe, the United Kingdom, where, you know, this is overseas. Overseas tour of Europe for WWE. And the fans over there spewing hate at Roman Reigns just like we are here in America. It's organic. It's natural. WWE would do themselves a favor and do us a favor as a WWE fan base to just let this thing ride out. Continue to push the buttons. Continue to fucking usher in the age of the Roman Empire and let this man do what he has been doing. Play up to the crowd and garner heel heat. The only reason why Anderson and Gallows are in this thing right now, the only thing that I can think of is AJ Styles is trying to be indifferent. He doesn't know what is going on according to storyline. He doesn't know what Gallows and Anderson are up to. He is not the one, you know, pushing for this to happen. He's not sending these guys, these henchmen out there to attack Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns thinks that this is all set up by AJ Styles because they know him. They have a history with AJ Styles. They are his buddies. Roman Reigns even said, you brought them here to the WWE. This is all you're doing. Roman Reigns is sticking to that, and AJ Styles is like, listen, I had nothing to do with this. This is why I came to you after you were attacked. I had nothing to do with this. Believe me. The only reason why WWE is playing this up, okay, and they're maintaining AJ Styles as a neutral entity in this entire storyline is because they want you to believe that AJ Styles has a legit chance of winning the WWE Championship. In reality, AJ Styles has no chance of winning the WWE Championship. I doubt that the WWE takes the title off Roman Reigns. I doubt that very highly, okay? But the WWE wants you, the viewer, and wants me to believe that AJ Styles has a legit shot with the help of Luke Gallows and Karl Anderson to beat Roman Reigns. So, right now, we are all thinking Roman Reigns is outnumbered here 3-1, and that AJ Styles has the help of his friends. What's going to happen at Payback? The more and more I see this, and the more and more I think of this, I see a massive swerve coming. This is brilliant. They attack the Usos. They took the Usos out last week, and now they're taking Roman Reigns out. For what? They're trying to get into the good graces. They're trying to gain the trust of AJ Styles. Meanwhile, they are going to pull a huge swerve at Payback and align themselves with Roman Reigns. And what Solomonster said on his podcast this week really makes sense. A lot of people don't like this storyline because they can't see Roman Reigns aligned with Gallows and Anderson. But why not? If Gallows and Anderson win the tag team championships somewhere down the line, and they're aligned with Roman Reigns, who's the WWE champion, can you imagine the visual of that with these three guys holding two of the major titles in WWE, one the tag team and one the WWE? Why wouldn't these guys look good standing next to Roman Reigns, who is the WWE champion? He's the champion of the fucking company. By default, they will look like money standing next to him. Roman Reigns might not be a leader, but if you want to usher in the Roman Empire, if you want to push this man further and further and further as a heel and continue to, build off that organic heat, this is the best opportunity to do that. This is the best scenario. The only reason why AJ Styles right now is being neutral is because WWE wants you to believe, as far as storyline goes, that he actually has a chance of beating Roman Reigns. Because Roman Reigns is their guy. He is the guy. They're not going to give you Roman Reigns as looking weak. They're not going to give you a vulnerable Roman Reigns as, someone who's going to go out there each and every week on the build to this pay-per-view and just give you a sense of, oh my God, this guy's definitely going to lose the fucking title. No, they're giving you a sense of hope in that AJ Styles could possibly win with the help of his friends. And when it actually does happen, Roman Reigns is going to be the one laughing in the end because they are going to be aligned. I think that's the way it's going. I honestly think that's the way it's going. It's very interesting. It's very intriguing, and they certainly have my interest. And it's going to be interesting to see how Roman Reigns handles this organic heat, man. If he keeps this up, he could be the biggest heel in the company. He just has to embrace it. And that's what I've been wanting him to do. Embrace the fucking hate, bro. Embrace the hate. All good baby faces have to go through this dark phase. This is Roman Reigns' dark phase. There will be a huge opportunity for the fans to embrace him finally. When that opportunity arises, you will know it. And WWE will finally get what they want. A babyface Roman Reigns. But for now, if he continues to do this, he'll be the biggest heel in the company. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens at Payback. Baron Corbin versus Fandango. Nothing happened here. End of days. Baron Corbin looks impressive. I'm assuming this is going to lead to a Baron Corbin versus Dolph Ziggler match at Payback. Rusev versus Cesaro. This ended up being a fucking 4-on-4 match, which I actually zoned out of, man, because I can't stand the League of Nations. These guys seriously need to get off my TV. And I would make a t-shirt, and I would get a t-shirt designed, but rumors are going around that these guys are going to be breaking up very soon, so by the time the t-shirt comes out, they might not even be a faction anymore. I barely watched this match because I don't care about the League of Nations. The only ones I cared about in this match were all on one team, Cesaro and The New Day, okay? I'm looking forward to see how The Miz builds his character with Maurice. I'm interested to see if they give the ball to Cesaro and, crown him the new Intercontinental Champion. But as far as everything else, League of Nations, I don't give a shit. Neutralize it to Sheamus. Cesaro wins the match for his team. Another 4-man or 8-man tag, 4-on-4. Natty, Becky, Paige, and Sasha versus Tamina, Charlotte, Summer Rae, and Naomi. This went about 10 minutes, and Natty makes Charlotte tap. No Ric Flair interference here. And she gets the victory for her team. It was announced that Bret Hart is going to be at WWE Payback. He will be in the corner of Natty to pretty much counter Ric Flair in the corner of Charlotte. I like it. I still don't think Natty is going to capture the title. We all know this is going to lead to a Sasha versus Charlotte match at SummerSlam, where Sasha is going to be crowned the new women's champion. That's just the way I see it. Semi-final match, Vaudevillains versus the Usos. The right team won here. No matter how, lukewarm of a reaction these guys get, they are a damn good fucking team. And they look like a credible tag team, okay? Hopefully, I hope the fans of WWE catch on to these guys because they have a great look. They gel very well together. And the fact that we have two NXT teams, two former NXT teams, now going one-on-one at Payback to see who goes on to fight the New Day for the Tag Team Championships, whenever that is exciting, man. The Vaudevillains beat the Usos. The right team won. They're a new team. I'm glad the Usos did the job. And WWE has got the right mentality here. They're trying to get the new team over. They need every opportunity to try and make these guys look credible. And they look credible by beating the Usos. They're former tag team champions on multiple occasions. They are the fucking Usos. They were the flag bearers for this division for several years. And the fact that the Vaudevillains beat the Usos to advance to the finals, that's a big fucking win, man. Whirling Dervish to Jimmy at 3 minutes and 24 seconds. I like that. The right team won here. Apollo Crews. They did a video package on Apollo Crews, which I talked about last week. Everybody in NXT that comes up to Monday Night Raw needs a good video package so that we know who they are and what we're getting. Apollo Crews versus Heath Slater. Apollo Crews pretty much dominates this match. Close to 5 minutes. Lifting powerbomb. He beats Heath Slater. There was no Adam Rose. As you guys know, he was suspended for 60 days for his second wellness policy violation. The only thing I don't like about Apollo Crews, I love his theme. I love his size. I love his in-ring ability. Okay, there's two things that are going to bring Apollo Crews down, and WWE needs to fix this, and they need to address this before it's too late. Number one, he needs some personality. We need to know who Apollo Crews is. He needs to have some time on the microphone. Number two, he needs a feud that is going to be meaningful. Okay, we need to care about Apollo Crews. It's tough to care about Apollo Crews, you know, if he's going in there against a Heath Slater, which nobody gives a shit about. Nobody gives a shit about the social outcasts. He needs something credible to do. He needs something of importance to do so that we get to know him a little bit better in the ring, and we get to hear from him, and we get to understand who Apollo Crews is. You know, those two things are going to bring him down. He's got money to be a huge player in WWE. You don't want to fuck this up. So he needs a credible opponent. Who that might be, I have no idea. You know, Kalisto hasn't been on the show. He wasn't on the show tonight. Why don't you give Apollo Crews a U.S. title shot? You know, fuck that. I think Apollo Crews can definitely take the United States title and do much better things with it than Kalisto. Same thing with Baron Corbin. You can even fucking make a case for him beating Kalisto for the United States Championship. But all I know is Apollo Crews needs some personality. Enough with the smiling, and, you know, he needs something credible to do. Otherwise, it's going to get out of hand, and nobody's going to care about Apollo Crews. But I'm excited he's on the Raw roster. I'm excited he's on the main roster. They just got to address that very, very quickly before it's too late. And the main event tonight, see Dean Ambrose versus Kevin Owens. And, you know, the crowd was pretty much out of it. They were chanting at one point JBL. I don't know what the fuck they were doing. 1 minute they were chanting JBL, and then towards the end of the match, it started to pick up a little bit. Then they started to chant, "This is awesome." Really wasn't a typical main event for Monday Night Raw. I really wasn't interested in this because we've seen this before, and it was just put together because of what happened in the intro to this show. The most important thing that happened here was the end. Chris Jericho looked strong. Now, obviously you want some type of build for this match at Payback, but to close a Monday Night Raw with Dean Ambrose and Kevin Owens, and the last thing that we see is Kevin Owens, or not Kevin Owens, Chris Jericho giving a code breaker to Dean Ambrose. Got to do better than that, WWE. I think whatever happened with Roman Reigns should have closed the show. Instead of having that in the middle of the show and then quickly going to commercial break and just leaving it as it is, that was a huge mistake, man. That's a big storyline. That is the main storyline going into Payback. Why that isn't in the main event slot and why we got Kevin Owens versus Dean Ambrose with a closing image of Chris Jericho, I don't know. But all in all, this Monday Night Raw, it wasn't bad. It wasn't good. It got the job done for an overseas show that was taped. Hopefully next week WWE can continue Monday Night Raw from what they did last week. And Payback, like I said, is looking pretty damn good, man. I'm enjoying what WWE's doing with Payback. All we need to do is watch and enjoy, because what we've been given is pretty damn good so far. They need to continue that momentum, man. Nothing really happened outside AJ Styles and Roman Reigns and the Bullet Club on this show. Hopefully WWE can, fill in the pieces on next week's show, and we get more of Zayn and Owens and Ambrose and Jericho, and more with the women and less fucking 8-man tags. Give me a break, man. WWE, they were overseas. They got lazy with it. I understand. Hopefully the same thing doesn't happen next week from Monday Night Raw when it returns back to the States live on the USA Network. And I said I wanted to keep this short and sweet, but of course I do not. So I'm out of here, guys. I'm going to get some sleep. I got work early. Thank you so much for listening to me, and thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy the video, hit that thumbs up. Let me know what you think about Monday Night Raw. I'm going to leave you a poll within the video. Was it a good show tonight? Yes or no, man. I'm going to let you guys vote on that. And leave me a comment down below and let me know what you guys thought about Raw tonight live from the United Kingdom. I'm JD, and as always, I will be back with more WWE content throughout the week. And Friday for Off The Script, I'm going to have a new iTunes podcast up this week as well. So make sure you guys check that out. Follow me on Twitter at JDfromNY206. Subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. And please go check out my Doom first impressions and my reaction to the open beta on the PlayStation 4. That video went up earlier this afternoon around 1 p.m. If you guys missed that, I'll link you down in the description below as well as an annotation in the video. I mean, if you guys want to check out the new Doom game coming out on May 17th. Thank you guys so much for watching. Until then, I'll see you all on Friday for episode 114 of Off The Script. I'm JD. I'll talk to you guys later.